Hi, welcome. I'm David, your home repair coach. Today we're going to continue talking about how to repair wobbly dining room chairs. I'm going to assume at this point you've already watched the intro video, and we're going to go ahead and dive right into this. The very first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to take one of these little glue injector syringes, take a cup of very hot but not quite boiling water, suck some water up there, and I'm going to shoot some of that down into one of these loose joints. And the reason that we do that is because sometimes chairs are stuck together with hide glue. It's less common. You're going to see it more with older chairs, maybe higher end pieces. It's really nice when they do that though, because it will respond mostly to the heat, a little bit to the water, and that glue, that hide glue, will actually get gooey and soften up and makes it a lot easier to come apart. We also want to know that because when you put it back together, if you have hide glue, you could put a new hide glue on that, you reconstitute it, get it sticky again, and push it back together. Most of the time, what we have, I was thinking of going into this later, but maybe we should just say that now. Most of the time what you're running into is PVA wood glue. Polyvinyl acetate, I think, is just your basic kind of white yellow glue in a squeeze bottle. I mean, it's a little different than the Elmer's Craft stuff, but it looks pretty similar. The bottles are similar. Tight Bond is a real common one. I use that all the time. It's great glue for all kinds of stuff. Its one drawback though is that once you glue stuff with it and that joint fails, you can't really effectively re-glue that stuff. You can scrape some of it off, sand it a little bit, you'll get some stick, but it's never going to be the same. Odds are, even with a full rebuild, this chair is going to be popping back apart in another year or two if you try using wood glue over old wood glue. So that pretty much leaves you, if you have the wood glue, you pretty much have to get epoxy. And I usually am using, well, what I've got here, I should say, I'll pretty much all do West Systems now for this type of stuff. I've got the standard 105 epoxy resin, 206 slow hardener. I like the 206 because it gives me a good, I think it's 45 minutes of time. More than we need for these, but I do use it for other things as well. So I'll use it for like butchered blocks. I'm doing a really big butcher block. Sometimes like the working time on that PVA glue, it'll start setting up before I can do the whole assembly. So I'll use this. Sometimes I'll have cases where I've cut curved pieces out of curved pieces in 3/4 plywood, and I'm laying another piece of plywood over that to make like a curved headboard, and your wood glue is not going to bond well to the edges of the plywood. So cases like that, in addition to these kind of repair things. The downside to that though is that there are I think it was about $100 for that kit, for that jug of resin and the hardener and the pumps. And you do need the pumps because it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. You do a full pump of each onto a paper plate or cup or whatever, and that's the right mixing ratio. So it is a little expensive. You can also get pouches for that. They give you a 6-pack, but as far as I've been able to see, you can only get the pouches with the 105 resin and the 105 hardener. And that gives you, it's supposed to be about 10 minutes. In my experience, it's been closer to about 15-20 minutes. So 10 is enough to get a simple chair like this together, but it's not always a ton, especially if things start getting squirrely partway through. 15 or 20 is a bit to work with. So that's the downside of getting those, but it's like 20 or 25 bucks for one of those 6-packs. You can also get, even if you have a set of 6 chairs, you can get 2 of the 6-packs. So you got some to spare. You can always, clamp the chairs up in 2 separate stages. If you're doing this for the first time, you might not have too many clamps to do too many at a time anyway. Or you can always try clamp, buy 1 6-pack, clamp as much as you can. If you realize that you're not, 1 pack is going to harden before you get a whole chair done, you order some more. So that's my go-to. West Systems. I like the 206, but the 105 resin, the 206 and the jugs is usually my go-to. But the 105 205 is good as well for a little less money. I'll throw some links in there. And that's all assuming that these were previously done with PVA glue, regular, quote unquote, standard wood glue, and they're failing, you need that. If we do this phase and it starts getting gooey, then we know that's hide glue, and that's a little bit of a different case. But I can see here, nothing really changing, nothing really gooing up there. So I'm pretty sure that's standard PVA. We'll go ahead and treat it like that for disassembly, and then in the future I'll show you how to do the reassembly on this chair with the epoxy. And at some point in the future we'll have to find a good case study to do this, do a chair or a set of chairs with the PVA glue, or with the hide glue, sorry. Well, in the future we'll find something with the hide glue so that we can kind of show you guys how to do that. But this is going to be the most common one anyway, so we won't worry about the hide glue right now. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe so I know to keep making more of these. I am David, your home repair coach. Thank you for watching. We will see you on the next one.